What's up everybody, Brandon Johnson here again, and thanks for joining me. Today we're taking a look at the classic old-time tune, Uncle Pen. And this song has a storied history that goes back way to the early days of bluegrass music. And Del McCoury once said that when he was playing with Bill Monroe, they used to perform this song every single night. So it's truly a classic tune that most bluegrass pickers out there have heard of. And what's great too is it's a fairly easy tune. It really only uses one chord. Of course, there's a D and a C that we play really, really briefly. But really the tune itself is just centered around a G chord shape. So even a beginner guitarist could learn this tune and be playing bluegrass in no time. So let's take a look. All right, so let's take a look at Uncle Pen now. We're going to be playing this song out of Capo 2, and we're mostly going to be playing a G chord shape here. So that's going to put us in the key of A. Since we're capoed up, playing a G chord shape, we're going to be playing out of the key of A. And you'll notice this G chord shape I'm playing is a little bit different than what you might have seen. A typical G chord shape is played like that. But for this particular song, I'm actually going to be taking my index finger off of the A string so that we're really just kind of capturing these higher notes and just this kind of low E note for this song. And what's really important here is to really capture the pulse of this tune, right? Because it's a very rhythmic song and it's generally played at somewhat of a higher tempo, although I've heard it played a bit slower as well. And one way we can kind of get that pulse going is by playing a little hammer-on with that index finger that we took off our A string that's kind of available to us now to do like a little half-step hammer-on. So that's 2nd fret low E to 3rd fret low E. And then you're going to play a downstroke on the rest of that G chord. That's just a really good way to kind of get that pulse going right out of the gate when you start playing this song. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to play the famous G run. And you can check out my other lesson on the G run here. Now since we have this index finger available to us out of that G chord shape, really all it is it's an open A, 1st fret A, slide up to 2, and then an open D, 2nd fret D, and then an open G. So that's your famous G run, which is very, very common in bluegrass music. Okay, and then from there, we're going to go into our kind of modified G chord shape that we just learned. And we're really going to try to get that pulse going. So we're going to start out with a little hammer-on here. From the 2nd fret low E to the 3rd fret low E. And I'm going from my index finger to my middle finger on this one, playing a downstroke. And then we're just going to play another downstroke on the upper register of that G chord. So what you're left with at the beginning is the G run, a slight pause, and then you're going to start going into the G, kind of with that little hammer on there. Now we're just going to kind of riff off of this G chord here. And what we're going to do is we're going to play the low register first, and then we're going to switch to the high register on the offbeat. And we're just going to kind of go back and forth like that and do some strumming. And you don't really have to play that hammer on every time, although you can just kind of use it as an accent kind of wherever you want to sort of create rhythmic interest in your strumming. Right here, when we get to the 4th measure, we're going to quickly go to a D and back to the G. So really you're hitting that D chord for just one quarter note. And then we're going to go to a C. And then you'll see that D chord again right after that. And then typically you'll hear the G run played again kind of at the end of the form of Uncle Pen as well. And generally there's a little pause there, but you can actually kind of do a little bit of ghost notes, which is where you're sort of lightly strumming in between those two sections, or you can just totally leave it open. It's really up to you. But usually when it's performed, they actually do a full stop there, especially when they're singing the lyrics. Another thing you might have noticed there is I was adding in some upstrokes on the lower register, on the lower strings. So remember that hammer-on we did? Right there, kind of go down, up, and then down. So let's try to work this up to speed now. So what we'll do is we'll start at a kind of a slower tempo with the metronome, and then we'll work up to an intermediate tempo, and then we'll try to bring it up to like a faster tempo at about 120 BPMs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Well, I hope you enjoyed this lesson today on the classic bluegrass tune, Uncle Pen. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you enjoyed the lesson. Also, click that bell if you want to receive updates every time I release a new lesson. And if you haven't already, head over to my website, BrandonJohnsonGuitar.com, where I have tons and tons of lessons on other classic bluegrass tunes, and I also offer a membership which gives you access to every single lesson I've ever made. So definitely head on over to my website and check that out. And that's all for today. We'll see you next time.